My name's Hector Rodriguez, and this is my work area. You can find me on Instagram, hjrodriguez_designs, and my email, hjrodriguezdesigns@gmail.com.
So Hector, thank you for having us, by the way.
My biggest influence would have been that I was always artistic. I used to draw a lot, and I'm a bit of a nerd, too, not gonna lie. Like, I loved comic books, and my design life came from designing the clothes for the characters. And then from that, it just turned into, I actually really like just doing the clothes. And then, yeah, that's where that came from.
So I would ask you, would you ever see yourself doing like your own comic book or magazine for your clothing or for designers in general?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I never really thought about that. I've never really thought about making a comic book for, like, with my stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Maybe I'd have to think about it.
So one thing we want to ask you, as a designer, like, how do you get support from your city?
That, I want to say, the support from the city, I want to say, comes from my family, because all of them are here. All of them. From mom's side, dad's side, and then my cousins themselves, and all of their friends. I know them all, and they just slowly start passing the word all throughout Lynn, and it just expanded out through Peabody, Beverly, and then further down, more states.
Where's the most, like, what was the most random place that you were like, wow, I can't believe my design, like, actually ring a bell over there?
That's another good question, because recently, I want to say like a month or two ago, some girl from California, she hit me up because she saw my sister's baby shower dress that I made for her 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever. It was a Cinderella baby shower dress, and she really loved it. She was having a little girl. My sister's dress was blue, and she wanted it in ivory and pink, and I was just in shock. I was like, dang, this girl found me from California. Where the hell was I? And yeah, that must have been the most random place, I think, so far.
Nice. What on that Cinderella dress, is there any fabrics that caught her attention, or what was like the pop of that dress?
That dress, it had a detachable skirt, and all over the skirt was hand cut out butterflies. And that's what drew her attention.
So actually, can you explain like the process of you making a dress or you making a garment for anyone?
That's it's a fun process, and it can be a little annoying. So the way I do it, I'm sure a lot of other designers do the same thing. I have them come here in this space, which you'll probably see in a little bit. I measure them. I try to tell them what works best for them instead of them trying to tell me, because I don't want to say normal people, but non-designers don't know how fabrics work, and a lot of them expect magic to come out of nowhere, and that's not how that is. And it's a very long process, let's just put it that way. It can go like a week, 2 weeks of just trying to figure out what works best on you and trying stuff on, making sure everything hits in the right spot, because no girl, man, child are built the same. Bigger chests, bigger everything else. So yeah, it's just a little bit of a process.
And then talking, what was the quickest turnaround you did, and what was the longest turnaround you did?
I'm a pro at this. I am the king procrastinator. I will pull something out the night before an event. And I've done it more than I'm proud to say. But I've definitely done that. I want to say the shortest amount of time, I think, in 4 hours, I think, I pulled out a 3-piece outfit, and it's behind you, and I'll probably show you in a minute. And the longest, I want to say the longest would have been my cousin's wedding in 2015. 11 dresses. I think there were 11 dresses. Hers took the longest, obviously, the wedding dress. It was a 3-piece wedding dress. I want to say that took about a month to get it right, because I like to do all of my own beading most of the time, so that sitting there, getting the beads in there, long process, but the outcome is beautiful.
What inspires you when you have a tough day, or like you seem like, you know, you're not in the mood to do a dress, something? What inspires you to get it done?
What inspires? To get to start or to get it done?
I would say even just to start it, both.
So I was waiting for this one. So to start like the whole like design process and stuff, you know how some like artists, like singers and rappers or whatever, they go from whatever they're feeling to create something. That's kind of, I guess, the same way with designers. depending on like, not, I'm not gonna say as dramatic as singers because they want to sing about heartbreak and people dying and all this other stuff. It's not that like intense, but it's the feeling that goes behind something you're feeling, like that you felt the last month or something, and it turns into, for my case, I use flowers. My past collection, and we'll see a little more of them later, and I'll tell you why there's flowers and everything. But to continue working when you don't want to do it, you just gotta tell yourself you're almost done. And it's the outcome more, because the process is dragging. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you. I don't even like sewing, and I do it because I have to, and because I love what happens at the end. But I mean, you just get through it. You just do it. That's the only way around it. If you're not gonna get nowhere if you don't just do it, no matter how much your day sucks.
Nice. So I want you to talk about your first ever fashion show and like basically how that was, like first seeing your like piece on someone and like preparing for it too. Like what was the process of preparing for your first fashion show?
My first fashion show. Can I pick which first show?
So I have to hear why. So yeah, you gotta explain.
Because I want to say the show I considered my first show, which is the one I'm absolutely obsessed, in love, proud of, would have been my senior year of college. And that wasn't my first show, but that was the one I put my everything into.
So we'll talk about that one, then we'll talk about that one after.
Okay. So that show, so we're Spanish. Our family, they were born Dominican Republic, whatever, but we go back further than that. We are from Spain. And so that year, I did 8 wedding dresses and a flower girl dress. Bridal is initially where my heart lays. That's where I want to end up being, making $350,000 with one person. Hopefully, one day that'll happen. And so there's a cathedral in Spain. La Sagrada Familia. There's a lot of shapes and the structure on those, on the columns and in the church. They were so pretty, so beautiful. I incorporated a lot of those lines, the line work of the building, of the cathedral, into the dresses. And even taking the color of their flag, which is red, and yellow, but red mostly. And I incorporated that into that line. And I had two of my cousins who I use all of the time, Miss Lisa and Richelli, to model one of the 2 final pieces that I did, because that was a ombre effect is what I did for that show. I started them off in ivory, which is like a really pale cream color, and they started turning into like a peachy color, and then one dress had all 3 colors in it, and then the very last dress was all red. And it was just the whole doing actual wedding dresses, that people could actually wear and not something for like a show, because shows, people want to do crazy stuff, things people can't even walk in or even go outside in because it's just ridiculous. That to me was the most proudest moment ever, is why I said this show was like what I think jump-started everything for me, was that one show. And we made all our own props, like bouquets, headpieces, bought them all stripper heels to walk in, red suede pumps, and yeah, bought them the jewelry. I even down to the detailing, the nails, made sure those were all painted, makeup all specifically done one way. I'm very controlling when it comes to how my girls look, and I always make sure they look to my standards, not anybody else's. And that's one thing I loved about that show too, was everything I exactly wanted.
So let's talk about your first ever show.
First ever show. Okay, so that was my sophomore year of college. And mind you, all these shows were in an actual place. It wasn't like in the gym or something of the college. They were in, I forget where my first ever show was, but that show was nerve-wracking. This was my first time on stage, walking with my stuff or showing my face to everybody that was in the crowd or whatever. I didn't have a lot of stuff in that show, but it was rewarding. Very scary, because I didn't think, you're your own worst critic, so I didn't think they were good enough to walk, but then when you look at everything else, you're like, okay, I'm good enough, it's fine. The biggest change, I would say, would be transitioning from doing wedding dresses, because that was my whole thing. It was like, I only want to do wedding dresses. I only want to work with someone that wants to get married or something. Excuse me. It would be I moved into color. I moved into print. I moved into even baby showers. Baby shower dresses. These girls go crazy for these dresses. Extravagant trains and all these colors and all that stuff. Just moving away from like all the wedding stuff, which is still near and dear to me. But that is not everything, and I'm not gonna get anywhere just focusing on that. I gotta literally broaden my horizons, and that would have been the biggest difference because my whole years in school it was always related to something weddingy. Now I've expanded. Prints, flowers, especially. I love flowers. You'll see me making a flower for something somewhere, and even jackets. And soon, men's clothing. We'll get to that.
So I would ask you, what do you do for like research, or do you follow trends? Like, how do you pick a dress, or how do you really style a dress, really?
You mean design one?
Design-wise, yeah.
Design one? I don't, and this is probably wrong on my part. I don't follow trends because then everyone's making the same thing. I maybe right now with the whole floral thing, because that seems to be the biggest thing in the world. That is probably as far as I'll go, like with prints. Especially, I don't really like using prints, but I've done pretty well with it so far. I kind of just, I guess I put my taste into what I like, how girls look like, into what I design. And then that's where all of these dresses come from. So I do kind of start with something. Like, it usually comes, I'll be in the fabric store or something. And then I see, that's kind of how these happen. Again, you'll see them later. I saw the one fabric, and I worked solely off of that one fabric, and then I started putting like things together, like this wall. I don't know if you can see it, but I have a corkboard over here that kind of, it started off huge, and then it kind of just shrank into just the sketches. But there are a lot of like, you pull from just the one piece, and usually me, I see the fabric. I used to design first. That kind of changes the older you get, I've realized. I saw the fabric, and then off the fabric, I made everything else.
So
I hope that answered the question.
I'd like to talk about just a little bit of the process of picking a fabric, or maybe issues you have gone through, like trying to find a certain fabric, or finding a dress that you want to work.
All the time. So picking fabrics, it's I want to say that's usually supposed to be the fun part. Not always, because if you don't, usually in some stores, if you don't get it when you see it, you're not going to get it when you go back. And that's where a lot of this, my spring collection, that's how that happened. The spring collection happened on complete accident. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I saw the one fabric, loved it. I was afraid to leave it, so I bought the entire thing. And then, sorry. And I just knew I knew what I wanted to make with it as soon as I saw it. And that dress, that one specific dress is what started everything else. And then I started seeing like this. This was just a fabric that I saw there. I was like, oh, it's pretty. I like the color. I had no idea what I was going to do with it until I actually sat in my car. And then that's where this pretty little thing came from. So now I want to say, design-wise, it all stems from the fabric. It all comes from the fabric. And then obviously my taste, because not everyone will make this cute little thing.
What is next for you?
So this group, actually, the spring collection is actually supposed to be a good, like, 15 dresses. 15, I'm using that number loosely because it's more pieces. Like, I'm trying to do a lot of more separate things, not just one solid dress. Except for this one. But I'm adding a lot more to this, and hopefully they're all going to get photographed in July, which is in the works, up in Rhode Island, somewhere in Providence or whatever. But that's what's in the works right now, and then later on, there's a lot more things happening. Like, I'm doing my own line of prom and menswear, and hopefully by the end of the summer, everything gets situated.
So I would say, what's your biggest moment in your design career so far that you were most proud of?
My biggest moment, that would definitely have to be my cousin's wedding. All of them. I made, and I did have someone helping me. She was there for most of it. She even went to the wedding with us. Her name's Angela, by the way. That wedding, I worked on the wedding dress myself, I want to say. The 3-piece wedding dress. We also did 5 bridesmaids dresses. We did 2 flower girl dresses. We did the mother of the bride, the mother of the groom, and in our culture, we have a madrina, the godmother of the wedding. She also had a dress. So that's a good, like, 10, 11 dresses. That must have been the most proudest moment ever because I got to see my dress walk down the aisle. Yeah, it was for my cousin. She still paid though. So but that watching my things in action, not just on a runway, that has to be the most rewarding thing I've ever felt in my life.
So what was the biggest challenge that you could think of in your career?
Custom. Custom work is the only challenge because I saw this was a meme that I saw my friend posted. Everybody wants to look like Beyonce, only pay $50 to look like her. That is not how that happens. You cannot expect something custom made to cost less than what it costs in the store. You're looking at almost triple the price. That's the biggest challenge. Or when people want certain things, or they pull off, oh, I saw this dress in Nordstrom. Can you make it for me? Okay, yeah, sure, I'll make it for you. And then they don't like it. You asked for it. You got exactly what you asked for. Custom is the death of me. Still do it if I like you, but Jesus Christ.
So what is...
I think everyone probably says this. Time management is absolutely everything. Everything. Coming from the procrastinator king right here. Waiting 4 hours before the party to make the dress. But literally time management. Like even this group, they were made in maybe 2.5 weeks. When in 2.5 weeks, one should be made, not 5. So, but they still look good. You can look at them inside and out. They look like they came out of a factory. And they were all done with these hands. Very proud.
So where does your experience or knowledge come from? Did you go for school or is this all by experience running?
I did go to school. I went to Mount Ida College, which unfortunately did close down. I went there for 4 years. I got my degree in fashion design. So I learned most of everything there, and a lot more that we end up learning you don't learn in school. A lot of it is through experience and hands-on and just being out in the world, seeing different things, seeing how people make certain things. I've changed a lot from when I was in school to now, and how I make things especially, you can't even compare. It's night and day. But yeah.
Then, there's one show that I know that you went to was the one recently at the W. I wanted you to really explain your experience there and how that went.
So overall, good exposure, I'll say. There were a lot of things I wasn't necessarily happy with, but there was people were running out of time. People were running out of time, and so things didn't go as planned. Like the show was supposed to start, I think, at like 8. I don't think my girls walked till like 10. It was a long waiting game. I don't know what else to say.
Was it worth it in the end of the game? You investing in yourself and making your dream happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I will say it doesn't just like come naturally. Like there are certain things that have to happen to a person for you to get to that point where it's just like it's about you, and whatever money you put into you is to make you better. So I 100% am very proud of whatever money I spend. I don't care how much money I spend as long as what I'm making at the end, my results are what matter at the end, and how people react to them. Like I will say, this last group, I was terrified. I was in love with them. Like I'm not even gonna lie, I cried when I saw all 5 of these dresses together. Because at first it was out of the box for me. A lot of my money went to it. All of my money went to it. But I was scared of the reaction from the crowd, I guess, because this was new for everyone. Hector Rodriguez never made stuff like this. So this was all new to me. But the reaction I got from them was exactly what I worked so hard for. So, very proud. Very, very proud.
So the way I support Hector, I'm always trying to push him, always trying to give him advice. I would say that I always try to be there for him. So if he needs me to come and try on a dress, I'm here. If he needs me for a show, I'm there. If he needs me for a photo shoot, I'm there. I try to take the day off from work, or I try to put myself to work in the night or the morning, whatever works for him. Also, the way I push him, I try to give him advice. I'm always asking him if he's keeping up with his new designs and if he's investing in himself, I would say, because I was pushing him towards that a couple months ago. Like, remember, always invest in yourself. At the end, it'll be a great outcome. Like, because at the end of the day, if you want good things to come from yourself, you really need to invest in yourself. Also, I would say that he Another way that I support him is, for example, like for Christmas, I bought him like shopping bags that have his logo on it. So like when he sells it, his designs to customers, he can give it and, it looks all official for him. So I just always try to help him the best way possible, because at the end of the day, family's usually always there, because, I'm his cousin. So I try to support him the best way possible. And yeah, I pretty much just try to always be there for him.
So how does it feel the first time that you actually modeled? So like your first show that you did for Hector, like how was that experience?
So the first show that we did was the one that he was talking about, his senior year fashion show, where the theme was like from Spain. It was really a really long day, but it was really, really fun. Like, I love doing it. I love seeing his whole collection come together. I love seeing how happy he was that everything came together exactly how he wanted. And you can feel like the love from the crowd when they saw his designs, like how loud it was, all the compliments he was getting. Like, you could just see it in his face, and like you could just see that everybody was just loving it. And it just made me feel so happy for him, because I know he just works so hard and he just wants everything to come out good. So the fact that he gets that outcome is just like the perfect thing. When I have the dress on, I feel like a completely different person, because he just makes it like so good that it just always fits me perfectly. Anything that he designs, it fits me perfectly. Like, and he just, I don't know if he just knows me, which he probably does at this point. He just knows how my body is, but everything just goes in every curve how it should go.
So what?
I want to say to Hector, my lovely cousin that I love so much, I just want to say, keep your head up. I know you have a lot of sleepless nights, sometimes things don't go your way, but just always remember that you have your family there and you have your team, and you will always have our support, and you'll never be alone. Just always remember that. And that I know that you're going to be successful. Like, I've always felt it. I always knew it. And like, I always tell you that one day I'm going to see you on TV, and that's just how I feel about it. Like, he's just great, and I know he's going to do great things. Something that I want to see Hector accomplish within the next 5 years, hopefully less, is his own fashion show. A show all about him, showing all his designs, all his hard work, so people can really see the hard work that he puts into his designs. Okay, something else that I want to see him accomplish, well, not accomplish, more like keep up with, is his collections. Like holiday collections, fall collections, spring, summer collections. Like, I want to see him keep up with that, for sure.
So, for you, especially, then not to say that nobody else is a hard supporter, but you have definitely been,
Cry!
on my ass forever.
Don't make me cry, bro, because then I'm going to cry.
You've always been there to push me, put the fire under my ass, and I will always appreciate that.
I love you.
I love you too. Yeah.
Dude, you're gonna make me cry. I have makeup on.
Not for nobody else, because I know everybody does support me hard, but you definitely have been one to either yell at me or to just really lay it out for me, really honest, and trying to get me to where I needed to be. And, a lot of this is for you, because you helped push it there. So, I want to say thank you.
You're welcome. I love you.
Too. Where I see myself in 5 years, I'm hoping I'm way more, I don't want to say, I consider myself pretty decently successful right now, but more in like, well, my name is actually like, oh wow, that's Hector, that's H.J. Rodriguez. That's where I'm trying to get at in 5 years, where like people are finding me in, I wouldn't say stores, but maybe high-end stores, maybe. That's where I want to see myself in 5 years. In 10 years, a whole different story. I want to rule the world in 10 years, but what I would want to tell my future self, stay humble. At the end of the day, you didn't get here by yourself. You got here with all the support and the love from everybody around you and all your family. So don't let fame or anything else get to your head, because you're not trying to make it by yourself. You need everyone with you. I'm Hector Rodriguez. Thank you, Starstruck Media, for joining me today in my design studio.